I know I've written a few books, and the feeling that I get is, the good part is like, you feel like you took a cork out of a bottle and you're letting all that gas escape, and that's the good part.
Right.
But like you said, the reviewing, like, is this crap? Is it good? I don't know. That part can be really hard. I was wondering, now that you're not just writing for yourself, but you have the Wisdom Path team and editors behind you, has that made a difference in it?
It actually makes it a little bit scarier, but also it makes the challenge more daunting, but it also makes it feel like there's a safety net. All right? It feels like I'm trying something that I've never tried before, moves and stuff that I'm not used to, but it also feels a little safer. Having someone constantly seeing what I'm writing is nerve-wracking, because at any moment they can say, this is great, and all of a sudden I feel awesome and wonderful about myself, and then I send in the next chapter and they're like, this one isn't as good, it doesn't matter. You know, they have the potential to say anything, not in a mean-spirited way, but just, you know, I have to learn how to take that specific, it's not even criticism, but guidance, in a way that doesn't impact the creative approach I'm trying to lay out. You know, I've worked with editors before on magazine articles for, you know, the Tattooed Buddha and Tricycle magazine, and it's always been fairly smooth, but I've never done anything this long form. You know, this is a serious commitment between several people working on something that's, you know, fairly scary. Probably more scary for me than anyone else, because I'm the origin behind the words and the ego who is at risk of getting bruised or beaten down.
Right. I know that feeling. And yeah, it's like you said, this is, you may have, like with your magazine articles, those were sprints. This is a marathon. It does get better. Especially when you hold that book in your hand, you see the cover and you see your name on the thing. There's no high better than that.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited about that one.
And the second high is when somebody reaches out and says, your book meant something to me. It changed the way I looked. That's the biggest high.
Yeah, I have written several of those emails to people. I've never received one, so that would be pretty lovely to enjoy afterward.
Yes, so the process, I get a few updates, and I understand that the book is, from my editors, I'm hearing the book is awesome. So I wouldn't worry too much about how you grade it, because I'm hearing it from a non-partial party saying it's awesome.
Fair enough.
If someone like you is trying to feel like there's more out there, whether it's enlightenment or whether it's awareness or whatever you want to, what do you think should be their step one? What would be your step to somebody who says to you, you know, Purple, I'm not sure about a lot of things, and I just know that things could be better. What should I do? What would be your first ideas?
Man, I don't think it would be meditation.
Right.
You know, I definitely think most people benefit much more from being in a pretty solid and more stable place to begin meditation, because without any sort of support and guidance, it can be very debilitating. And, you know, obviously there's a shitload of apps out there now. You know, you can go online and learn any kind of meditation that you would like. And certainly there are forums and people you can chat with, but I think more people than ever are being exposed to different forms of meditation, which is great. But I also think there's a distinct lack of support and follow-up. You know, if you're meditating with Headspace or any of the apps that are out there, if you get into a tight spot, if you get into a psychological letdown or a place where you're feeling really challenged or really super upset, you know, who can you reach out to? I don't know if these apps have, you know, emails where you can send to people and chat with someone if something like that happens. But if someone were to ask me that question, like, you know, I don't feel like I really know where to go next. I feel like maybe there's more out there, but I don't know really how to find it. You know, if it were a friend or an acquaintance coming to me, I think I would see if they can start where they are. You know, what are the things right now that make you happy, and what are the things that make you unhappy? How can we look at your life and see what's serving you well and making you more healthy, and what isn't serving you well and maybe dragging you down a little bit? Maybe the answer is more exercise. Maybe the answer is a healthier diet. Maybe the answer is finding a new hobby like playing guitar or disc golf. Maybe the answer is more you time, more time to read or watch something silly on Netflix. But I think I would definitely try to find something that would help them establish solid ground under their feet before I immediately threw out meditation as this is a place to start. And again, keeping with that idea of responses and attitudes sort of matching the circumstances, if the person did seem like they were on pretty solid ground with sure footing, then I would feel much more comfortable offering some basic meditation instructions. But that would take another conversation, finding, what is that person looking for? What do they feel is lacking? What would they like to change? What sort of transformation are they looking for? Because all meditations aren't the same. It's something that needs to be sort of figured out between the coach and the client, what they're looking for and if you can provide it.
Really, really good advice. Are there any other, let's say, daily practices outside of meditation that you would suggest, like journaling or walking in awareness or any of these things? Do you have any personal favorites that you think really help people a lot?
I don't think there's any one general thing. I think there's broad strokes. I know that when I get more exercise, I definitely sleep better and feel better. But when I don't eat trashy fast food and prepare something that's actually reasonably decent at home, I can tell my body and mind are a little bit different. So I think the general approach, the general broad strokes that can suit everyone are pretty much, exercise, some fresh air, having any kind of a hobby, even if it's a small hobby that you enjoy, something that isn't work or just straight up vegging on the couch. I probably spend far too much time in front of the TV with my 900 streaming services, making sure that I've seen all of the new stuff. But I definitely, if I get out and play disc golf or I go for a walk with my wife, I definitely find myself in general in a better mood and a better headspace. But yeah, I think journaling is definitely a good one that a lot of people overlook, especially if you're journaling in relation to something specific, like a meditation practice. I have a lot of my clients do a meditation journal because it's a very good way of keeping track of the sort of things, the experiences that you're having on the cushion and off the cushion. And then in general, that brings more to the table when we have a session that we can chat about. So I'm definitely a big fan of journaling. And as cheesy as it seems, I used to hate this and just sneer at it as, a very new agey, touchy-feely, woo-woo practice. But gratitude journaling has been life-changing for so many people, and something that I have definitely gotten way more into over the past few years. I haven't made it a total habit, but doing something that alters your mindset towards appreciating the lovely things that you have in your life, rather than consciously or unconsciously dwelling on the negative things that are always challenging you, that without meditation can really transform the way you relate to yourself and the rest of the world.
Yeah, very, very true. I know a lot of people that the journaling actually, it forces them into a state of reflection.
Right.
And that's always a good thing.
Yeah.
Here's one that I have no idea. What is your thoughts on psychedelics for spiritual gain?
Yeah. I'm certainly not against them. I feel like those are sort of a door opening. And I feel like they can be followed up with a lot of practices that I feel like it sets the tone. It can open your mind and your heart in ways that you didn't think were possible. But then I feel like it usually needs to be followed up with some other kind of work. I think psychedelics have a massive potential in the world of psychological treatment, something maybe a little bit separate from the spiritual path. They're seeing a whole lot of positive results with MDMA and psilocybin with vets who come back with a lot of PTSD. with people who have overwhelming depression that has so far resisted any other sort of medication and treatment. So, and they're even seeing a lot of pluses with people who have social anxiety disorders. So I think there's a huge, massive potential there. And as far as spirituality, I feel like it's something that could augment the journey and really be helpful. But I don't think it's something that we could probably rely on to be the primary source of spiritual awakening. But I think it can definitely be very helpful along the way.